morning. It's Ginny and Eli, and I have a special guest with us, Josh Maringer. He knows a lot of stuff, so he'll bring some quality information for you. So we're at DS Tech in Escambia, Michigan, and we're going to talk about identity theft and impersonation. So have you ever had a celebrity reach out to be your friend on Facebook? I mean, right? Or on TikTok? Yeah, just the other day. Elon Musk did it to me twice. He asked to be my friend, and I was like, yeah.
I mean, we're pretty cool, but I don't think that guy's searching for people over here.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Right?
There was one, I think a couple weeks ago. And
one thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
ahead.
but make sure you stay to the end so that you can find out how to get your free security assessment for your business.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
No, that's perfect.
Yes. So why do people do this? Tell me that.
Well, it's crazy.
You know?
So, yeah, and there's a lot of reasons, first of all, financial gain, of course, when someone carries that sort of influence, whether it's, a celebrity, maybe someone higher profile in the business that you're in, whether it's a prospect, especially if it's a business leader in your organization, that can be scary. But it can be anything.
You mean they impersonate the leader?
Yeah,
in
like
that
if they're like,
business?
hey,
Okay.
this is the president of XYZ company that that you work for. We have a meeting. Don't miss it. You click this link to RSVP. That could lead you to a bad file path. That could steal your credentials. It might be that they try to get just get money out of you. Like, I don't know, go to the store and get this stuff.
We just talked about that.
Gift
We were
card
just talking about
scams.
that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's and they could also do it for influence, attention, things like that. Think of it kind of like catfishing. If you have this picture and you're able to do enough things to get verified as someone that's maybe an influencer, maybe not an A-lister, but or whatever. Let's just say that, oh my gosh, someone is pulling it off and they're impersonating Brad Pitt on YouTube and X and Instagram. And they're gaining enough followers of just ripping his pictures off of his sites.
And his videos.
And they're just getting subscriptions from pirating the same thing. And all they're doing is just, they could even have a botnet clicking like, subscribe.
Well, then the thing is they message you. After,
Right.
And then they start
absolutely.
reaching out to your friends.
Yeah. And then, of
And-
course, donate to my social media campaign, donate to my charity. It can be horrific.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Ultimately, the hammer drops, and at some point they ask for money for something. It's,
Yep.
don't donate to my cause or help subscribe to my new service or whatever it is. I mean, that's the end game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is
Oh, yeah.
financial gain for their part.
And it all boils down to that. We have a couple things. There's like, you can get harassment or revenge. That's, I think it all boils down really to monetarily.
Yeah. Well, especially now, you need to be more and more cautious with the advent of AI. I mean, you can take a 30-second clip of somebody's voice and pretty quickly turn around a fairly convincing voice message from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Even video messaging is becoming more of a thing where you can take someone's likeness and pretty quickly come up with a video and audio of somebody that looks like Brad Pitt or whomever. It's pretty interesting.
There's even like sales tools for things that like one of the just keeping track of who I've called, things like that. We don't subscribe to it, but there is an AI option where you can actually go in and build your avatar and then make a video with your voice or generate a script and say, hey, I want to talk to ABC company that builds I-beams and they have all sorts of computers. Write up a script for me that's, to set up a meeting, and it could have someone just like so stinking handsome in the corner that just like sells the crud out of DS Tech. And it'd be like, oh man, like that was disingenuous, but it could be used by a hacker or something.
I've seen marketers do that.
Yeah.
I've seen their videos, and you have to look really close to see that it's not really them because their mouth is just a little bit off.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing is where like, the line blurs between professional tools and like, you know, there's not a set of, oh, this is for hackers only out there.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like any tool can be used for good or evil. I mean,
right.
You can do a lot of good things with a hammer, and you can do a lot of bad things with a hammer.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, hammer. Yep. Yeah. You could be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or you could go and you could be a lumberjack and you just like cut down trees for a living. That's what they're for. So that's hyperbolic, but yeah. So, but
so
no,
just be aware, right? And what are some things we can do to prevent?
So what I always recommend is, you know, whenever someone reaches out to you, if it seems at all suspicious, reach out through known communication channels.
Yep.
You know, go to their known published website and, you know, call the number on the website. Don't call the number that's in the email signature that you got in the social media message. You know, actually go to the published website. So, you know, example I always like to give is, you know, one time I had an issue with one of my credit cards, and Bank of America called me, and they said, hey, there's this issue with your card. Can you confirm, you know, some personal information? And I said, absolutely not. I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, there's no way.
And they said, okay, well, will you call this number back? And I said, absolutely not.
No.
I have no way of confirming that is a legitimate phone number,
right,
or who you are. And finally they said, okay, call the number on the back of your card. I said, perfect. I have my card.
Nice.
I can validate that.
Okay.
And, you know, it was a minor thing.
Did it end
handled,
up
but
being them?
It was legitimate.
Wow.
But I still want to do my due diligence and make sure I was talking to Bank of America and not, you know, somebody trying to steal my information.
I could totally see falling for that.
Yeah.
People do all every day. I mean, I when I worked in a different industry selling, you know, vehicles, there were some very intelligent viewers that, and they were a bit older, so they didn't grow up with the internet, but there was a vehicle that was around $50,000, and they ended up having to sell it back like a week later because someone took them for all they were, you know, and it was a shame. But, you know,
it happens everywhere. Only happen to
it's not just
older people.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Because a lot of times in the workforce, you know, we assume that.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it couldn't happen to me.
This younger generation is so tech savvy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
we're not that tech savvy unless we're trained to be.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
You know,
yeah, being able to
we're not born with
being able to use technology and cybersecurity are kind of two parallel avenues that
they
don't overlap as much as people might think.
And one can get you into trouble, really.
Yeah.
You know, if you,
Okay, so to prevent it, you just be diligent, right? And if you're suspicious.
Yeah, be diligent. Of course, you know, strengthen your credentials, your passwords, things like that. You know, you rather than passwords, maybe passphrases. You know, things that aren't going to be as easy to just brute force, like ABCD 1 2 3 4. That didn't work. Let's do it with, you know, ABCD 1 2 3 4 exclamation point, stuff like that. And if I just read your password, by the way, go change it right now. I just made that up. But, you know, one thing too, that if you really do have a weak password, we can add another layer of protection is multi-factor authentication. I mean, you know, someone rips your credentials, oh my gosh, might not be the end of the world if you get a Duo or a Google, you know, authenticator ping that says, hey, are you trying to log in from like the Caspian Sea area? You know,
and I've gotten those before. And
me too.
Change that password immediately.
Yeah. I remember it was like years ago. I had a Facebook notification thing on that. It was like, hey, there's someone in the Black Sea area trying to log in.
That's crazy.
I was like, well, how about no? So.
And something else to keep in mind too is a lot of times, you know, especially when there's a conversation going on with a malicious actor, they try to like induce a sense of urgency, right? It'll be like, you know, we're a collections agency and we're trying to reclaim this money or something like that. Ask them to send you something in the mail.
Yeah.
You know, that's another level of authentication, and oftentimes they won't because, you know, once the U.S. Postal Service is involved, that's a federal crime.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And they don't want to take that risk. They don't want to go through the hassle of it. They're just looking for an easy win. So that's an extra step that you can always take. Is like, hey, I didn't get anything in the mail about this. Send me a certified letter, and then we can talk.
Yeah.
And so many of those people are like, they make so many of these reach outs a day that if they get any sort of pushback, it's usually just on to the next one. So it's like
they're looking for that hole. They're looking for that weak spot.
Yeah. It's like it's like a robber that's walking down the street with lock picking tools, but not a bulletproof vest. And they go and they look in the window, and there's a big Rottweiler sleeping beneath a gun rack, and there's a security camera.
Probably skip that one.
Might skip that one. Yeah, exactly. So could you get past it if you absolutely had to?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, but you don't want to find out. One other thing too that to be aware of is, and this has been happening to me a lot with church friends, and again, it's not just folks that are of a certain age, but be cautious of friend requests. You might see that you have a lot of mutual friends. That might not mean anything. That might just be that the scam worked on all your friends.
Right. Right.
Or it might be someone you know. And think about it, though. If they're sending you another request and you have been their friend on Facebook or whatever it is for 10 years, why would you get another request? So it's probably they've been hacked.
So then you call them.
And you tell them via a safe manner, of course, via phone or
and they might say, "Oh, my account was hacked and I created a new one." Well, okay, then I'll accept it. But if you didn't, then somebody is pretending to be you. So
we'll just
report it.
At this point, because they'll go and copy the profile picture and name and all that kind of thing. So I mean, it's hard to legitimize unless you contact the person through a known method, in person or text message or what email, even what have you. So,
oh yeah. So
cool.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
That's the thing. All right, so that's it.
So what if it does happen?
What if it does happen? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah. So obviously we want to
we
report
talked about
it right
it
away.
a little bit.
Yeah. We
Block
report
them.
it right away.
Report
if it's not within your business, if it's just social media, just report that. Of course, change all your passwords and everything. Make sure that all of your
if you have suspicious activity on your
absolutely
account.
Absolutely. And if you it does end up happening to you in a business capacity, you want to, of course, reach out to your direct supervisor. You want to make sure, of course, that your IT department knows if that is something you have. And then obviously you want to reach out to the authorities if it is something, like you have actually been hacked. There's hackers, things like that.
Somebody got your money.
Someone's got your money. It is.
If somebody got your accounts, you want to let your bank know and your credit cards and all that, right?
Yep.
So fun.
If it does come to a reporting situation, there's the IC3, which is part of the FBI. That's the Internet Crime Center. So that's a good spot to report. Also, the state of Michigan has a cybercrime department. So those are the two that I would recommend reaching out to if it's actually a criminal situation where you've lost some funds or there's been others, some kind of criminal attack that's happened on your environment or your bank account, that kind of thing.
Perfect. Because and that's good because a lot of people have no idea. What do I do? Call 911.
Well, and then you're embarrassed, right?
Of course.
You're embarrassed if it happens to you.
It's
and you don't want to tell your boss.
Yeah. Of course.
But do it.
Yeah. And recognize too that for a lot of these cyber criminals, this is their job. I just saw a statistic last week that if cybercrime was a country, it would have an $8 trillion GDP, which is larger. It's approximately the size of what was it? It was Germany and Italy, I believe, combined. And the only two countries that have a larger GDP are the U.S. and China.
So it would be a superpower, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Well, it is. It is a superpower. Yeah. Wow. It's unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's the level of what we're dealing with, and there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
Certainly we all need to do our diligence, but these things happen every day, unfortunately. So we can do what we can to prevent, but there's the response part is just as important.
Absolutely. Awesome. So to get your free security assessment for your business, go to dstech.net and fill in the form, get in touch with us.
And
Let us help.
We can help tell if your password is being used elsewhere, things need encrypted. There's stuff swimming laterally where it shouldn't be, all sorts of crazy stuff. So if you think something we talked about may have happened to you, look us up. Get that scan.
Yep.
The Galactic scan.
It's still free right now. So
it is.
All right. Make it a great day. We'll see you next time.